The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem officially opened its doors today, the 70-year anniversary of Israel's Declaration of Independence. President Trump's decision to move the embassy from Tel Aviv represents the fulfillment of a promise the United States made over 20 years ago when Congress passed the Jerusalem Embassy Act in 1995, a move supported enthusiastically by both Presidents Clinton and Bush.
Jerusalem is still the capital of Israel and must remain an undivided city accessible to all.
As soon as I take office, I will begin the process of moving the United States ambassador to the city Israel has chosen as its capital.
Even some of President Trump's most prolific critics praised today's move. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer said in a statement, "In a long overdue move, we have moved our embassy to Jerusalem. Every nation should have the right to choose its capital. I sponsored legislation to do this 2 decades ago, and I applaud President Trump for doing it." The move was supposed to wreak new havoc on the region, and if you watch a lot of the coverage of the mainstream media, it sure seems like it has. While there has been violence today, mass demonstrations have been going on in Gaza for the past many weeks now, orchestrated in large part by the terror organization Hamas. The group has explicitly said that it is encouraging protesters to violence, promising that thousands of Palestinians would storm Israeli security fencing. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar said, "What's the problem with hundreds of thousands breaking through a fence that is not a border? We can't stop these protests. We are supporting, even leading them." He went on to compare the protests to a tiger running in all directions and promised that Hamas leaders are ready to die along with tens of thousands. Despite the goal of widespread violence, the protests have been largely concentrated in the Gaza Strip, the area controlled by Hamas. So how significant is this move for Trump, for America, for Israel, and for the region? Joining me now for some perspective on the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is Israeli Ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon. Ambassador, thank you for coming. And I want to talk about Hamas in a minute. But first, talk to me about this historic move and what it means for Israel.
Good evening, Essie. Indeed, history. We waited for that for so many years. Jerusalem has been the capital of the Jewish people since the days of King David. And many presidents promised to do it, but President Trump is delivering. We are grateful for that. There was a beautiful ceremony in Jerusalem, and many other countries will follow the U.S. The president of Guatemala, President Morales, will come tomorrow to Israel and will open his embassy. The president of Paraguay and many others will follow the U.S., and I think it is only the beginning.
On the one hand, the move does little to quell regional tensions, but it also isn't solely responsible for stoking them, as so many in the media are trying to suggest. It strikes me that the media coverage of this has been very lopsided, one-sided even. What do you think about it?
I regret that. You know, when you look back what happened in 1948 when President Truman took another bold decision to recognize Israel, he was criticized for that. Some in the State Department told him it was a bad timing, but he did it. And look what's happened today, 70 years later. We have a flourishing democracy as the strongest ally of the U.S. in the Middle East. So I think people will praise this decision in the future.
What kinds of tactics are Hamas using to stoke tensions or propagandize off of this move?
This is unfortunate. Look what's happening today. People are not speaking about opening the embassy.
Yeah.
They're speaking about the riots in Gaza, about the casualties. And I see the cynical way that they are using their own population. I have warned the Security Council 2 days ago. I told them, look, what will happen? They will send kids into the fence. There will be casualties, and then we will meet here. And tomorrow morning, we're going to have an emergency session of the Security Council to discuss the situation in Israel today. That is because Hamas is orchestrating those riots. They want to see more casualties, and we have to defend our border, and we'll continue to do it.
And I know you want the UN Security Council to condemn Hamas. Are you confident they will?
For sure it will not happen.
Right.
I think the Security Council is not able to do it. And I think once they will do it, they will send a message to the Palestinians.
Why do you think
Come
they're not
back to
able
negotiate
to do it?
with Israel.
Yeah.
Because they are sticks to the narrative of blaming Israel and supporting the Palestinians and ignoring the fact that the people in Gaza today are held hostage by Hamas. You know, on Friday, we have a checkpoint that we are allowing trucks to go into Gaza, and we provide humanitarian support into Gaza. On Friday, Hamas set on fire the same checkpoint. So who is going to support today the people of Gaza? I think the people in the Security Council should change what they are being doing for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Do you think, and this is hard to answer in a quick interview, but do you think there is still a pathway to peace?
I hope so. Look what happened with Egypt. We had 4 wars with Egypt, and now we have peace. Same with Jordan. Once we will find a Palestinian that loves his children more than he hates us, we can sit down and negotiate peace.
Ambassador Denon, thank you so much
Thank you very
for being
much.
here. I appreciate it. On his biggest decisions like this Jerusalem move, Trump is guided by gut feelings. So how much longer can he keep avoiding the long game? That's next.